Shri-Guru Shri-Yatapadakamlam Shri-Gurun Vaishnavascha Shri-Rupam Sagrajatam Saharanaraghunathanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Pariyana Sahitam Shri-Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri-Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayine Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Krishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 7th chapter, verse number 17. We have to stop this film. It's going to be. So, we read in the earlier verses that Maitreya has answered the questions of Vidura, and his answer was that it is Lord's Maya which contradicts logic and which is the cause of bondage of the living being. And it is because of Maya that things appear, although they are not in that manner. There is one more. So, and the solution he gave was devotion to Lord. That is the solution for everything. And that brings all the miseries to an end. Asesa sanklesa samam vidhatte gunanuvada shravanam murare. And bhakti is very easy because you have to just hear. Be here and here. That's all you have to do. Everything else is problematic. Karma marg is very difficult and complicated. As Krishna says, Ghana Karma Gati, that the dealings of karma are very deep and cannot understand how it works. Because sometimes small things can give big result. If you are walking and an ass is going in front of you and you get the dust from the feet of the ass on your head and you lose punya. See, this is karma mark. And if the cow is walking and you get dust from the cow's feet on your head, godhuli, then you get punya. So just dust can give you punya and you can also lose your punya. So you have to really guard your punya all the time. It's like your bank balance. Suddenly somebody can hack your password from the computer and the money is gone from your bank account, you don't even know. or sometimes there is deposit made without your knowledge. So that is karma marg is like that. We read all types of descriptions. That you take bath in Ganga, all your sins are finished, and you do another little mistake, then you have to go to hell for 7 kalpas. Yeah. So this is karma marg is like that. And that's why it is said that in Kali Yuga, don't bank on it, because it is so difficult and impossible to execute, because it depends on pure material, purity of the person, purity of the place, purity of the time, purity of the mantra, and of course purity of the priest. Now all these things are impure now. Even if you are living in Vrindavana, then everywhere you travel. Other day he said there are 26 towers. Now I saw the 27th coming up somewhere here. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
There's one coming up here, 27th.
Very near.
So there is not only external pollution of the polythene bags and the garbage and the sewer line, but also internal pollution of the waves. And higher you go, more effective. That's why the sadhu used to live in the caves. In the olden days when towers were not there. Now if they will be here, they will go to the Patal Loka probably. Completely inside. Because these waves are everywhere. So for that reason, bhakti is the only thing which works in Kali Yuga. And this is what Maitreya said, and in the previous verse, previous 2 verses, Vidura said that he is very happy to hear this and his doubt is removed. In this particular verse, he makes a very interesting statement. Yascha mudhatamo loke yascha buddhe param gataha tavubhau sukhamedhete klishyanti antarito janaha. Says that there are 2 types of people who feel happiness in this material world. Number 1 is who is completely dull. Did we read this verse? Yes? We did it? Okay. So one who is absolutely dull person, mudhatama. Mudha means totally bewildered, confused. And mudhatama means it's like insane basically, who has no idea what is going around him. So he is happy. If you ever go to this mental hospital, then these people are actually happy. It's only that we are trying to cure them and make them unhappy. We make sure that they suffer like us. Otherwise they are happy. Because they have no worries, they are always laughing. Sometimes they cry, but that also no problem for them. They have no worries. So he says, mudhatama means who has absolutely no concept of life, like an animal basically. And yascha buddhe param gata, one who has gone beyond mind or intelligence, like an avadhuta, like Sukadeva Goswami or King Rishabdev described in Bhagavatam. So they are avadhut, They are beyond any cares of this world. They don't care for anything. So they are happy. And those who are in between, whose minds are full of doubt, antarito jana means they are very doubtful about the life. They don't know what will happen. Now at present all over the world there is fear of economy. And everybody is hoping that it will improve. But still the fear is there. What will happen next? So these type of people, they suffer. When economy is doing good, then they suffer. When it is not doing good, then they suffer. Under all conditions, this middle class always suffers. And the reason is that they are antarita. Antarita means they are doubtful. They are not free from doubt. The mudhatama, one who is absolutely ignorant, he has no doubt. Because to have doubt, you have to have some knowledge. Person who is absolutely ignorant cannot be doubtful. You get doubt about something when you know little bit, but you don't know completely. Then you are doubtful. Maybe this road goes this way, or it is this road which takes. But if you have no idea even about the road, you are so intoxicated, then you just walk wherever you feel like walk. Or one is situated in absolute knowledge, then there is no doubt. He is seeing things as they are. There is no touch of rajoguna or tamoguna in the mind. There is illumination, enlightenment. Then person is free from doubt. There is no anxiety, there is no worry, no tension for anything. So these two types of people, they don't have any stress in their life. They lead stress-free life. So like you see the animals, they are not in stress. Even if they are hungry and they don't get food, they are not in stress. They look for food, but they don't have stress. So they are saying that these two type of people, sukham edate, they experience happiness, and the other people, klishyanti, they are miserable. So if you already did this, we also must have read the commentary, and we can move to the next verse. अर्थाभावं विनिश्चित्य प्रतीतस्य पिनात्मनः तां चापि स्मच्चरण सेवयाहं परानुदे. He says, now I have understood that which is not Atma does not exist. And Atma means the Supreme Lord, the real Atma. So, besides Him, there is nothing which exists. Previously, in second canto, we had read one very nice verse. Dravyam karmascha kalascha svabhava jiva evacha vasudevat paratanyat nasti brahma sachit sankhya kasyachi tarpatra jyoti. He says that whatever you see, vasudevat parabrahman na chanyavarthi asti tattvata. That there are basically 5 things which we experience in this world. There is dravya, the material objects. There is karma, time, swabhav, nature, and living beings. So these 5 things we see in this world, on experience, or we can infer their existence. Because time we don't directly experience it. Karma also. These are the 5 manifestations of Vasudeva. Vasudevat Paro Brahman Nacha Anya Artha Asti Tattva. Says besides Vasudeva, besides Krishna, these 5 things in reality don't exist. That means in this world, Krishna is present in these 5 forms. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudhava. That one who understands that all this is Vasudeva, such a great soul is very rare. Upanishads also says Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. All this is Brahman, Parabrahman, Supreme Person. So really speaking, everything around us is the Lord. But it does not appear like that to us. We don't experience it, or we don't see it that way. So therefore he says Artha Bhavam Vinishchitta Pratitasvati Navati. That whatever we experience, it is not different from Atma. And having understood this, says Pratitasyapi, what I am experiencing now and thinking it is not the absolute, he says that also I will get rid of Yusmat Charan Sevaya, by performing service to you. He is telling this to Maitreya, that by serving Vaishnava, we will become free from the ignorance. So real problem is that we are in ignorance, avidya, and because of ignorance, we are seeing things when they are not that way. As was said in verse number 16, that abhati apartham nirmulam vismulam nayadvai. That it appears, although it is nirmulam, it does not have factuality that we see. Or in other words, just like seeing the snake in the rope, so the snake is not factual there. It is the rope which is factual. But we don't see the rope, we see a snake. But in reality, what we see as snake is the rope. So in the same way, we are seeing here dravya, kala, karma, jiva. This is all manifestation of Krishna, but we are not seeing it. So Krishna, he manifests in different ways. He has his own existence in the spiritual world. Is there enough light for this? And then he manifests as the Purusha, Mahapurusha, Shiva Lakshai, Garma Lakshai, Karma Lakshai. And he manifests as Prakriti. Then he manifests as time. Time is also Krishna's form. Kalo Asmi says time I am. Time is not something different from him. Then he also manifests karma. Karma is also Krishna. Then he also manifests jiva. So all these are his manifestation. And then this Leela is going on. So this is the interesting thing of this material world. And we are taking it, forgetting Krishna, we see things as we are seeing. So actually there is Krishna behind everything. And everything is a manifestation of Krishna, just as snake is nothing but rope. But it looks snake to us because of ignorance. Because there is insufficient light. So we see the snake and not the rope. When there is enough light, then you see the rope and not the snake. Nothing happens. The rope appears there itself. So in the same way, there is Krishna here, and we don't see him because of our ignorance. So those who are great devotees, they see Krishna, Vasudeva, Sarvamiti, Samahatma, Subhadra. When Prahlad Maharaj was asked by Hiranyakashipu that where is your God, where is your Vishnu, he said he is everywhere. So he was not saying it theoretically. We say theoretically that God is everywhere. We don't have experience. Prahlad Maharaj was experiencing. Therefore he was not in anxiety. Although he was tortured, he did not feel any tension or anxiety because he was seeing everything as play of Krishna. So when Hiranyakashipu asked, because he didn't believe this boy, he said, this boy is a rascal. He just says things. So he says, is this Vishnu also in this pillar? And Prahlad very emphatically said, of course. And Hiranyakashipu did not believe this. He said, how can I believe this palace was built by me? It's like we are having this third floor construction going on, so we know what is in the walls. I know very well. They've been constructed in front of my eyes. So Prahlad knew, and then Hiranyakashipu broke the pillar and Lord came out of it. So Prahlad was seeing this. When Hiranyakashipu was asking him if the Lord is there in the pillar, then he was seeing Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad was seeing Lord Nrsimhadev, and Lord Nrsimhadev was winking at him. He's saying, just say yes. Don't worry. So he winked at him. And Prahlad said yes. Because he says, just say yes, I will see this fellow now. So when Nrsimhadev winked at Prahlad, and Prahlad smiled and told his father, yes, he is there. So then that was the end of Hiranyakashipu. Of course, it did not come very easily. It seems Hiranyakashipu ran all over the world. And this chase went on for a long time, till it was the evening time. Because when he was asking to Prahlad, this was not evening time. The kings don't sit in their court in the evening. He was sitting in the court with other people. And then he asked. And then he chased him. But he killed him in the evening, right? Neither day nor night. But Hiranyakashipu came out, and Lord Nrsimhadev came out in the daytime. After that, he was chasing him. There was a marathon. Because when Hiranyakashipu saw this, he became scared. He didn't believe this. What is this? This fellow looks very dubious and scary. So he started running. Finally he caught him and he brought him back to his place and he killed him. So he says that Artha Bhavam Vinishchitya, that I understand that these things which I am seeing, this is not the reality. The reality is something else. And whatever little bit doubt is there in my mind or experience I am having, he says that will also go away. Yusmat charam sevaya, by doing service to you. So rendering service to Guru, to devotees, to Vaishnavas, that gives realization. That is part of devotion. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments, Kincha samprati api mama klesha shesho vartate itya. So Vidura, in the previous verse, he said that the middle class people, they suffer. And he is considering himself in that category. Because he is not a murdama. He is not completely ignorant. He is not considering himself as highly enlightened person, but in between. That's why he was asking questions. Now he says that after hearing your statements, then I am becoming free from klesha. Because Maitreya said, Ashesa sanklesha samam vidhakte, that once miseries are removed completely by performing devotional service. This is the symptom of devotional service, that a person becomes free from all disturbances. It is not possible that one performs devotional service and one is disturbed. The situations will come to disturb, but one becomes free from it. That is the characteristic of bhakti. Bhakti and disturbance don't go along together. So Vidura says that my klesha has not gone away completely. There is little bit remaining. And that, he says, will also go away by doing service to him. Atmano jivasya artha bhavam vastav durbhagattvadi abhavam tvanmukhodit siddhantena vinishyate. So he is giving another meaning to this verse. Atma, he says Atma refers to the jiva, the living being. And Arthabhav means the misfortune. He says that in reality there is no misfortune of the living entity. He says, now I have understood why there is no misfortune, because in reality the jiva is not bound. We read that. Sayam Bhagavato Maya Yannayena Viruddhate. It is only Lord's Maya which makes it Ishwarasya Vimuktasya Karpanyam Utpanna. It says Jiva is actually Ishvara, it is independent, it is free, but it is in bondage because of Maya. So if one understands this, then one is freed from this so-called misfortunate situation or unfortunate situation. So he says that this misfortune is not real, vastav. It is only, there is misfortune, but it is not something which is inside the living being that cannot be removed. It is external and it is misunderstanding basically. Just as the snake in the rope, one perceives the snake and one fears, but snake is not real. So once you understand it, then you don't fear, but still maybe little tremor is there. It's like you sleep at night and you are in fear. You see that there are snakes all around you. And if you put your foot, it is going on a snake. Or you have some other nightmare, then you wake up. When you wake up, you see there are no snakes. but still you have little bit of fear in the mind. That is called badhita anuvritti. That even when your ignorance has been removed, still it has some kind of effect. Or you are scared by somebody. Somebody plays a prank on you and you become scared. They have these plastic snacks. So somebody puts it right inside your door. You open the door and you see this and you shout. Then you get your friend and you see, and then he laughs and you see that there is no snake. But still you have some fear even after knowing it. Right? So although it is not real, still it is causing an influence on you. So in the same way he says that vastav durbhagatvadi abhavam, that this misfortune does not really exist. Tvanmukhodit siddhantena vinishyatyapi. He says, although I have understood this now, that I am not really bound in this material world. I am not. He says, still, न प्रतीतस्यापि अर्थाभावस्य ताम अप्रतीतिम अहम पुराणुदय. So I am still not completely free from this, and that complete freedom, he says, that also I will get rid of by performing service to you. This is his statement. Then he says, Yat sevaya bhagavata kutasthasya madhudvishaha ratiraso bhavet tivra padyor vyasnardanaha. Says that by performing service to the devotees of the Lord, then what happens? Says one becomes deeply attached to Lord Krishna's feet. So devotion to devotee makes one attached to the Lord. So there is a rasa of rati rasa. Rati means attachment, very deep attachment. Rati also means bhav, another word for bhav. So there is a rasa, and this is to Bhagavan Lord Krishna, who is Kutastha. He is called Kutastha because he does not change. Things in the material world, they keep on changing, but not the Lord. And he is called Madhudvisha. He is the enemy of the demon called Madhu. Krishna is called Madhudvisa or Madhusudan. So, or Madhudvisa is, Madhu also means honey. So Madhudvisa can also mean the honey bee. So just as the honey takes and the bee takes honey, in the same way Lord, he performs his sweet activities with the devotees, and he removes obstacles. Madhu and Katava, these are two enemies of devotees. They are supposed to be born from the ear of Brahma. Madhu Katava. So Madhu also means honey, and Katava comes from the word Katu, which means bitter. So what it means is that in our ears we hear praise and we become puffed up. There's like honey. Or someone speaks some harsh word, bitter words, then we are immediately agitated. So in both cases we become deviated from service, because both are disturbance to the mind. Praise is also a disturbance, and criticism or harsh word, that is also disturbance. And when mind is disturbed, then it is not possible to do service, because mind is the major instrument in doing service to God. We may do physical service, but then mind also has to be there. So therefore these two are considered as enemies and Krishna kills them. Therefore he is called Madhudvisha or Madhusudan. So devotee must be very careful about this. To do service, mind has to be peaceful, intelligence has to be fixed, and it should not become disturbed by some verbal statements, whether in glorification or in criticism. Rather, one should take that this is also Krishna's arrangement and get over this. Then there is Rati Rasa. Then there is accumulation of the bhav for the Lord. The mind will remain fixed. Rati means attachment. It comes from the dhatu ram, from which we have Raman, Radha Raman. From that Ram only get the word Rama and also Rati. So Ram means to take pleasure. So Rati means mind takes pleasure in doing service to the Lord. So therefore devotion becomes natural at that point. In sadhana bhakti we have to endeavor. When Rati is achieved, then it is a natural action. Just like the flow of the Ganges water to the ocean. In the same way, the mind naturally flows towards the feet of Lord Krishna. So that is the meaning of Rati Rasa. And it will become Tivra. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajaita Purusham Padma. Tivra means powerful, like the strong current. If you see the river in the Himalayas, then it is very powerful. You cannot stand in it, it will wash you away. So like that, mind becomes very forceful, forcefully attached to Krishna's feet. It cannot be deviated or disturbed by anything else. So that's why devotee is fixed, or he is dhira, very stable. Vyavashatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. He is Vyavashatmika. He is very fixed, stable, unflinching in devotion. Because mind is very steady. Otherwise mind is flickering or jumping from here to there, one to another. So when there is attachment, then mind becomes fixed. That is the meaning of Rati Rasa Bhavetiva. Padayo Vyasnadana, to the lotus feet of the Lord, and then Vyasanardana, then all one's impurities or attachment to material enjoyments, they are destroyed. So as Krishna is called Janardana, The same word is used here as Vyasanardhana. So as he destroys enemies, he destroys the Vyasan. Vyasan means bad habits. We become habituated to do certain things with our senses. And that is removed. So that is the purification, when one becomes completely purified. It's the effect of devotion. Bhagavad Jan Sevayaha Kim Asakyamidya says, what cannot be achieved by doing service to the devotees of the Lord? There is nothing which is impossible by devotion to devotees. So when you are performing devotional service to the Lord, that is very powerful. And doing devotional service to the devotees is very effective, because devotees, with them you can talk, you can see their behavior, you can hear their words. The deity is not talking, not moving, he's standing there to accept your service. So the service to devotee therefore is very, very powerful. Bhagavataha kutasthasya bhagavatvenaiva sarva kala vyapinah. So Lord is Kutastha, which means Kala Vyapi, means He is unchanging in all times. You develop attachment to anything in this world, after some time it changes. Whether you have attachment to sentient beings or insentient objects, everything is changing. If you love some person, then that person also changes. His or her body changes. Mind, of course, is always changing. Even when the body is not changing, mind is changing. Morning you talk nicely, evening the same person is in another mood. So that is not Kutastha. So Kutastha here is that in all times he is same. Krishna is Krishna all the time. He does not become old. He is Nitya Yavan, Nitya Kishore, ever fresh, youthful. So ek ruptaya tu ya kalvyapi sa kutastha iti amara. In our course the word kutastha is described, that one who stays in one form, unchanging, kalavyapi, spreading over time. So this time is one form or one energy of Krishna, and its thing is to bring an influence on everything in this material world. All the time. Non-stop. Karma is not manifest all the time. Karma is when you do it, then it becomes manifest. But call is manifest, time is manifest, and doing its job. Even when you are sleeping, the change is happening. Everything is being influenced by time, our body, mind, all these material manifestations. So Krishna is Kutastha, Kalavyapi, unchanging. No modifications occurring. Madhusudanasya madhoriva bhagavata bhakta sansarasya nashetuhu padeyo ratya bhavaktya raso vibhavadi sanyogotya shantabasya dirasya tivrasva madhurina prakrita prakrita. So Madhu Dusha, enemy of Madhu demon, he said, just like Krishna, he destroyed this demon called Madhu. In the same way, Lord destroys the material bondage of his devotee, which is like Madhu. Madhu is demon, this bondage is also demonic. Or Madhu means sweet, this bondage is very sweet to us. Even Arjuna was saying, how can I kill these people? So they are my relatives, my uncle, my cousin brother, my teacher, my grandfather, nephews, sambandhinas tatha says, Etan hantum na ichchami. I don't like to kill them. And he was calling Krishna as Madhusudana. So he says that Krishna, he destroys this sweet attachment. Because if he does not destroy, we will keep on playing with these toys. These are all toys in this material world. So one has to make a decision. It is very difficult. People always bring this, but what about my wife? What about my children? What about my this? What about my that? So all this my, they don't care for you, but you want to hold on to these things. They are not bothered about you. And you have to leave them anyway one day. No, doesn't matter how much you remain attached to them, you have to leave them at the time of death, or they will leave you before you. They can also die. So the separation is inevitable. No one can change it. No science, no technology has been developed till now that you can protect your relatives from death. So they will be gone. So you better decide now that okay, I have given enough of my life to these relatives. Now I do something for myself, for my journey. I have to go to the next loka. I already have my ticket and visa. So I better get some food for the journey. So that is very important, to have some balance in your pocket when you travel. Otherwise you can be in trouble. And for that one must engage in devotion, and Krishna says that he removes all these sweet attachments which look sweet, but they are also the source of trouble and they keep you bound. And then there is attachment to Krishna's feet. If you remain attached to the family members, you cannot be attached to Krishna. What is that? Bhakti Sandarbha. Making a dangerous statement. Rastratha is scared to translate that statement.
When I translated it, I marked it.
What is that? Uplalana? Uplalana. Fondling the kids. Yeah. That one should not be attached to the fondling.
To the enjoyment of fondling the kids.
Enjoy, yeah, sukh. Uplalana sukh. One should not be attached to the enjoyment or the happiness of fondling the children. If one is attached like this, then forget about devotion. So Krishna is very demanding in that sense. And to a materialistic person, it looks very scary and cruel. Very cruel. But this is the real compassion, that person is telling you the truth, that better stop it. He's not flattering you, he's not going around. He is madhu dvisha. Fondling the children is the madhu, this is the honey. And he is the one who is destroying it. So be careful with devotion. So that is our ultimate benefit, because you will get more honey then you will get attachment to Krishna. Bhav bhaktya raso. Then there will be rasa of bhav bhakti. Bhavadi sanyogottha santa dasyadi rasam. And then you will get all the rasa of santa dasya, vatsalya, sakhya, madhurya. All this. It will become manifest. Bhav, Bhav, Anubhav. Sanchari Bhav, Satvik Bhav, all these rasas, these things will get combined and give you rasa. Where is rasa means? Like you drink sugarcane juice, that is the rasa. It is very tasty. In the summer, get a nice glass of sugarcane juice with little ice and a little bit of twist of lemon. That is called rasa. So you cannot stop drinking it. That is called rasa. Accumulation of all these rasas. Tivra Swamadhurya, and it is very powerful, very tasty. But when you drink it, you forget about everything else. You become completely drowned into this taste. And prakrita, aprakrita, all types of problems are gone. Prakrit, material and aprakrita, non-material problems, also like Brahmananda and all this, mukti, therefore. Sarva madhurya upamardi, because this sweetness of devotion, it overwhelms all other sweetnesses. When you eat, there are various types of sweets are lying. There is barfi, there is peda, there is gajak, and then there is this gulab jamun. So that gulab jamun, that makes you forget everything else. That is called Sarva Madhurya Upamardi, overwhelming all other sweets. You just put it in your mouth and bas. Tena apratiti paratvenodhanam midam kiyan matramiti bhava. So he says, whatever you know, whatever you don't know, all this is thrown away by this experience of bhakti. And that comes, he says, yat sevaya, by serving the devotees. So that is Vidura experience. And we will stop here.
So I have a question in relation to this power of the service to the devotee. So what makes the devotee so powerful that he can give this relation?
Because he has devotion.
So this is his power there.
Power is in devotion and devotee has that. It is in his behavior, in his speech, in his action. So you can experience that in the association.
Because simply this is the key. There is nothing else more important than this for a person who is, for a jiva covered by illusion. There is nothing else. It's the only way.
Yes.
I have a question about this Prahlad seeing Nrsimhadev in the pillar. So should we imagine the Lord's form in all things, whatever we look at, or
Well, just see that this is manifestation of his energy. Because Right now we don't have that bhav. Because what we see is our own bhav basically. Whatever we are experiencing outside, we experience according to our bhav, according to our inner mood. That's how we see things. You look at a person, you see that as loving or not loving depending on what is your bhav. If you have some loving relationship with the person, then everything about that person is nice. His speech, his walking, his talking, everything looks nice. Same person does something to you, you become upset with that person, then your mood has changed. Then everything looks like despicable to you about that person. So basically we see what is inside. If we have devotional mood, then we see everything related to Krishna. When we don't have that, somebody has the mood of money, and he sees an opportunity for money and everything. Somebody has mood for enjoying, and he's seeing everywhere this enjoyment. So that's Bhagavad Bhavam Yapased Sarvam Bhavam Atmana. And this question was asked by King Limi in 11th Canto, that what is the symptom or definition of a devotee. It says Sarva Bhutesu Yapased Bhagavad Bhavam Atmana. One who sees the one's own Bhagavad Bhav in everybody. Whatever is one's own bhav, he also sees in that. Bhutani Bhagavati Atmani is a Bhagavatam. He says he is the Uttam Bhagavati. So because he has the bhav, he sees that also.
That's why he cannot understand if somebody has no devotion.
Yeah. So that is because this bhav is too intense. When that bhav is not very intense, then Ishvara Tadadhinesu Balesu Dasatsucha. Then he sees differently. He is devoted to the Lord, friendly with the devotees, and he gives his compassion to the ignorant and avoids those who are inimical to the Lord. Isvaratadhinesu Balesu Dasatsucha. Pramaitri Kripa Pakshaya Karoti Samudra. So that means because his bhav is not very intense. That means when your heart is captivated by just one bhav, then you see that. If your heart is not captivated completely, but you have other things, then you also see other things. So when Sukadeva Goswami was walking and he was in Brahma Bhav, and he did not see these women taking bath in the lake. But then there was no difference. The trees are there, the animals are there, the women are there, it makes no difference. Difference is there because we have difference inside. When we have the desire to enjoy, then we make a difference, male, female, all this. But he was in Brahma Bhav, means he has no concept of any difference. So even if the object is there, he sees nothing.
I also have a question about this, some impurity being left. You were mentioning it in the beginning of the class that Vidura said some will be left, but it will also be removed later on. And it kind of correlates with that Nashta Prayesha Vadreshu verse of the second chapter of Bhagavatam. So that's kind of the same thing.
Yes.
So then what is that remaining?
Well, from bhakti point of view, there are offenses.
Thing that is slowly removed?
they don't go away immediately. Ignorance can go quickly, but offense takes time. So that also goes away if one continues to do the devotion service.
So it's related with the offenses and the power of the service to the devotee. So then as the devotee has the power to be, and if somebody can serve and please the devotee, then he can quickly enter this tradition and becomes natural. But at the same time, if somebody displeases this type of devotee, then
That's what I'm saying, that is offense. It also has the contrary effect.
the contrary effect. This step is very. One person should be very attentive.
It's always like that. If something is powerful, it also gives the powerful contrary effect.
Contrary effect.
It is taken improperly.
So then, this by serving devotee, you said that the people, only the stupid person or the realized person is happy with you. But all the other people in the middle, outside of these two categories, they are suffering. So now there are different types of suffering. So this suffering, the question is, suffering in service. If somebody is serving and still is suffering, means that he's not serving or he's doing something wrong.
You yourself are saying that serving and suffering means that something must be wrong.
Something must be wrong. I deserve this happiness. So then it's most probably possible that somebody is thinking that is serving, but actually is not serving, but is only projecting
That is also possible.
internals inside. So it looks like a emergency lamp. This idea, this suffering type of things becomes very useful to understand.
Well, suffering is a different type. Suffering, one is a physical body. One may suffer because of heat or cold. You have to do service in cold, you suffer. That is one type. Mental suffering means there is some incongruity or disharmony in the mind while doing it. And that is going to make you suffer.
Because you also said that we can also
So
serve
physical suffering is different. That is not in your control. You can make arrangement. But if there is a mental suffering, that means there is something wrong in the thinking of the person who is doing service.